Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
Are we all here?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes, please, we can.
Great. So we're gonna jump right into wonderful. So we're gonna jump right back into our exercises, and the first exercise. I think we're gonna get a little bit practical in this. We're gonna give you a chance to practice what we've learned so far. I just just put the first exercise in the main Dutch HS file, and I'm sharing my screen right now. So the first exercise is about writing a program or a function that takes as input two numbers and returns the greatest of the numbers. So I would appreciate if there's a volunteer that can jump in and type it live right there.
So, Manfo, I'm just actually working on getting my little one some lunch right now, but I would like to jump in and try this out.
Does that mean you're gonna jump in?
So I have to log into the Replit that you're in right now, right?
Yes, that's correct. Were you able to log in yesterday?
I did log in yesterday, but today I don't. Like I'm in Replit, but I'm not in the one that you're sharing.
So I'm gonna send the let me send the link. I'm gonna share the link and you can just join. I just shared the link in the chat.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, so I'm in the Replit right now. I'm not sure if you're at line 61. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to walk through this. So the program that takes two numbers and returns the greatest. So
yes.
And then we got X. Let's make sure I have the syntax right on this. Whoops, no, that's not right. And
Oh, by the way, if anyone else wants to try this out, that would be great. you just open like your text editor. It could even be a Word document. And you basically type in the solution, and you can suggest it in the chat or here in the main.hs file we are sharing, and we'll run it together.
So like in this document, there are already some val1 and val2. So that could cause problems, I'm assuming, if there is, if I declare a new variable.
The parameters to the function
are the
local.
parameters to the function.
They are local to the function, so they don't affect each other. I think your equal signs comes after your parameters.
Okay. Okay. That doesn't look right.
Yeah, the first equal sign, this one over here.
Yep, is not.
Shouldn't be there.
Okay. And does it make a difference, like if I have, let's say, like I have my program right here, if I have more than one space in between my, the variable and the parameter, or more than one space between the two parameters, like does that cause an error message?
No, at all. Not at the parameters level.
Okay. And then I can, let's see. Makes two numbers and then returns the greatest. So at this point, I'm going to ask for your help on this. At this point, can I go ahead and call the function, or do I need to val1, val2? So the val1, val2 equals, I need to specify what the return value is, or what the return.
So yeah, so your type of your function is already has specified the return value, which is an int, which will definitely be one of these two values, and it will be the greatest of the two. So what you need to do in the body of your function, meaning after the equal sign, is come up with some sort of syntax that will help you compare the two values. So we did see operators yesterday. There was the minus, the inferior operator. There's the superior. So, and there's an if, then, and else constructor.
Okay.
So if I put it that way, so you need to complete that, meaning that check a condition here, and that condition will be on val1 and val2 using your, let's say, inferior operator.
Okay, and so I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
So what about the other function that you told us about, which I think was like the max function? I think it was.
There you go. That's another option where you can just come here and call the max function and pass it the two value.
Okay.
Yeah.
And okay, and so I just need to look at the syntax on how to do that again.
So the max function, it's max. So you basically write max. So let me copy.
And this would be after the this would be after the equal sign, and then I would say max. And then I add the values in.
You pass the values.
Pass the value.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's basically it.
Okay, and then I can call the function.
Yeah. So now, in order to.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So no, that's good. That's the definition of your function. So now, in order to call the function, you have to load this up.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay.
You have to load.
Because
this. There you go. GHCI. So now you have
Okay.
to load up the main.hs file. There you go. It's capital N. It's capital
Okay.
N.
And so I have there's an error somewhere else, I think, in the document.
Yeah. So it's complaining
Okay.
about the data is main.
The show EQ,
Oh,
which
I
I
see.
think you're
So
demonstrating. Yeah.
yeah, so it's complaining here. Let me fix it. It's coming
Okay.
from somewhere else. But I will just remove this. Yeah, go ahead and load it again. Load it up
Okay.
again.
Oops. And I can use L or
Yeah,
load, right? Okay.
exactly. Okay. So
Okay.
another one.
Hmm.
Perfect.
Traffic light.
Where is it getting this from? Strange. It's equal. Let me just comment the whole thing out.
Okay. Go ahead and load it up again, or
What I could do is we want to just remove this. We don't have to think too much. Okay, go ahead and load it up again.
okay. Okay,
There
then
you
I
go.
can call it. Okay. Pass it two values, 1,
Mhm.
5, and 15 max.
There you go.
So there's a max and a min as well, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
maybe you want to solve the mean one.
Okay.
You know, for you were asked to write a program that returns the smallest of two numbers.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and then I can just go through and basically do the same thing I did here. Whoops,
Mhm.
where we are. Where are we?
Yeah,
Here, but instead of using max, I would use min.
exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, okay. And so that was one way to solve it. And then there's the if then way to solve it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll leave that one for somebody else.
Okay. Does anyone wants to try with another syntax? If I can put it this way.
Yeah, yeah. Hello, I'd like to try.
Please go ahead. Do you have access to the file?
Yes, please, I do.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Sorry, my network is delaying. So
What was that?
no, nothing. Sorry.
I love the name. Maybe you mean the greatest, but that's fine. Let's go. I think you're on the right path. I don't know if it's your internet that. Can you hear us?
Sorry, my network just went off. Hello, sorry, my network just went off.
Oh, okay.
But I'm done. Oh, it didn't even show. Please, it has come.
Yeah, that's great. And do you wanna
Richmond.
do you want to run that? Let me clear up the repo, and you can run that in.
My
So
network
make.
is still,
What was that?
my network is still slow.
Okay, so I will run it from here then. So yeah, thank you very much. So I will reload the main file, so that will take into consideration the new lines you added, and I will call your function by specifying its name, the greater between, and I will take one example. So I have 12 and 2. I expect it to return 2, which is the case. So 12 and 45, and I get 45 as the greater between the two. Yeah, guys, this is great. Do we have any other suggestions from anyone else?
Does the mass value works on float?
Yes, it will work on float, especially for this case, because again, look, he defined his function without specifying a type.
Okay.
So what will happen is, I think the compiler will try to give it the biggest type possible. Let me see here. So if we do, for example, 1.23 and 3.2, we got 3.2. So if we ask the compiler to tell us the type of that function, something really interesting happens here. It just tells us that, remember when we have these lowercase types, it just means that they could get multiple types. As you can see here, we got like 12 and 45, which are either int or integer. And down here, we use like float or doubles. So again, this syntax with those lowercase are type variables, so they can take many forms. And odd here is just saying that as long as these types know how to order themselves, and remember we talked about type classes, and then that's it. So that's the type we get. If we try to figure out the type of this one up here in program, it will provide the type we set for it. So type my program int. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So very quick, there's another way we can do this, and it's using WADs, and it's simply taking X and Y, and when you use WAD, remember you don't need to use an equal sign. You just put a bar there. Oh, sorry, back down here. You just put a bar there, and you put your condition. So if X is smaller than Y, then I will return Y, and the other case would simply be otherwise. That includes all the other situations. And then I will return X. So if we reload this, unexpected if expression, right, parentheses. So what's the problem here? 19. I thought it worked. What's the problem here?
Because you removed the score 2 at the back of the Y at line 18.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I was like, what is happening? So this should be fine. So thank you. So if I do reload, so there's a 10 there. Okay. Someone just delete my function. Okay, I guess I will type it again. So the greatest between the greater between 1, x and y. And I use words. If I do check x inferior to x at y, I will return y, and otherwise I will return x. So that should work now. It's compiling. So if I call the greatest one, and I pass it 23 and 2, expected 23. So that's another way of doing pretty much the same thing. So up here, we call a function within the function. So it's one way you can do it. If you already have a pre-built function that does a job, you can build a bigger function that uses that function. And this max function already comes with Haskell. Down here, we use the if and then else construct. And with the if, you are checking a condition that could return either true or false. And when that condition is true, what you specify after the then is returned. And when that condition is false, the expression you specify after this else is returned. When I say expression, you can actually do a lot of calculations here. Like imagine a use case where you can do something like x plus y. It's all possible. So you can add expressions there as well. Okay, are there any questions for this first exercise?
Yep. I want to know how can we ensure the type of the parameters of the last function, your version. This one is a grid source between 1, and how can we verify the type of parameters?
I'm not sure I got that. How can we?
I mean, this it is the function works with strings. If I passed for example, a name.
Yeah.
This function works actually.
With strings.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Like remember, this is again when you don't specify the type, Haskell will always give you the highest type possible, the highest container for your value. And if we go back to the type of the greatest between 1, and again, see, all that needs to happen here is that the P's there need to know how to order themselves, meaning they have to have an instance of the class order. Well, strings or list of characters have an instance of the order class.
Okay.
So if I call the greatest 1 and I pass it, who was asking the question? Is that Gerald?
Yep.
Gerald and Felicien. Well, guess what? It's gonna work because Yeah, Gerald, you are the greatest. So in terms of alphabetical order, you see your name starts with a G. That makes you greater than Felicien.
Okay, okay. Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if I had specified the type here, just like we did up here, like int, I'm restricting, I'm constraining my function to work with int. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So now we'll move on to the next exercise. Let me copy it. Place it here. So another way to add comments to your code in Haskell is to use these curly braces. Like that. In between, you can paste your text. So this second exercise is about writing a program that takes an integer number and returns the string even if the number is even or odd if the number is odd. And as a hint here, we have the function modulo, which is spelled this way in Haskell. That takes, two integers and returns an integer, knowing that, if a number is even, it will be divisible by 2. If it's odd, it won't be divisible by 2. So modulo of something and 2 will return 0 if that thing is divisible by 2, and it will return something else different than 0 if that thing is not divisible by 2. So who wants to go with this one? It's pretty much the same thing with this, except for our condition here. We'll be checking if using the modulo function on these two parameters. And well, on the parameter we pass in and 2, and then checking if the result is 0 or it's different than 0. Do we have a volunteer?
I'm willing to jump in.
Okay.
Um,
Even or odd? Great.
here. Okay. So and are you defining the function now?
Well, we
So
start with
is that the name of
code.
is that the name of the function?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I don't remember the syntax, so you can correct me as I go.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
And I'm gonna type in even.
Yeah, yeah, you type even between double quotes. That will be a string.
Oops.
Looks like somebody is having fun. So I would suggest if someone wants to try it out, you can either go to a different lines all the way down, or you can just type it on, any text editor.
What just happened here? Where am I?
Now you lost an if there at the beginning, right before that mod. Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
And I have to have that mod X in parentheses.
It's up to you. I don't think you have to.
Okay.
But it's always better. It's always good to really separate with parentheses like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. If mod X.
Are we good?
I think we're good.
Okay, so just like very few things, I think this is great. Let's remove this bar here.
Okay.
Yeah, and the next thing would be adding an equal here. So we have the function name, we have the parameter, and we have the equal sign before we start the implementation.
Okay.
So given that we always indent like that, which tells us that all this block code is within that function. It belongs to that function.
Okay. And so do I need to indent under the if, or is it fine the way it is?
It's fine the way it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So because if then else are at the same level, it's the same construct.
Okay.
But all these are under the function, so that's why they you get a space there, you indent a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, this is great. Do you want to run it in the repo?
Looks like someone is typing below it, so maybe after they're finished up, we can run it. Yeah.
Wow, this is great. I'm just sitting here and looking at what you guys are typing, and it's melting my heart.
well, Manfo, you have taught me. I've written my first Haskell program, and it's all because of you. I've read it in books, and I'm kind of getting the theory behind it, but I haven't tried to do anything. So this is my first time. I appreciate it.
Great, man. It's great. Okay, cool. So we see odd or even or odd 2. That one is looking great to me. The second one is the same as the first one, except for this parenthesis. I think we should be able to run this without any issues, given that this will evaluate to either true or false. Well, let me see if this is equal, if this is equal. Okay, and we do have an indentation there. That's good. The third one here, it looks great to me, except for the only thing we need to do is to indent this. So indent this like that. Okay, to make sure that this is within the body of the function. Okay, and given that we already have even or odd 2 up here, we don't want to have 2 things that have the same names in the repo. So we'll call this 4. And then 5 down here, I see that it's being corrected now. The indentation is happening live. That's great. And we got y as a parameter. Again, you see these parameter names, they don't have to be x. They could be literally anything. So this is a chance to mention that. So the only thing that I would add here is, yeah, there you go. There's an equal sign there. It's cool. So whoever wrote even or odd 3, do you want to run it in the repo and see how it goes?
Sure. Okay.
So you will have to reload the file, the main.hs file in the REPL. And it will, at that point, will take into consideration the new code that we wrote. And you can call your function passing it a parameter.
All right.
How's it going?
That's great. I'm done.
In the REPL? So I don't know what happened there, but we don't see anything in the REPL. But let me do this. So ooh, looks like the REPL has a problem. I'll move to the shell and just get into GHCI. And once I'm in here, I will load the file. So everything looks good, and I will start with this one. That's what Sydney wrote. So here's that there, and we are asking ourselves whether that's even or odd. That looks great. If we get 3, that's odd. That's good. We go to even or odd 3. We pass it 2, that's even. If we pass it 3, that's odd. Great so far. We try even or odd 4. Now if we pass it 4, that's even. If we pass it 5, that's odd. So great so far, and we do the last one, even or odd 5. So if we pass it 1, we should get odd. That's great. We pass it 3, 2, we should get even. Wonderful, guys. Yeah, so let's move on to the next exercise. So I'm gonna copy it over. So again, I'm going to use the comment construct. And I'm going to paste that in there. So here we are required to write a program or a function that returns the team of a student team, given its identification number. There are 3 possible themes: red, green, and blue. And so the criterion that we have here is that student with ID 1 goes to the red team, student with ID 2 goes to the green team, and student with ID number 3 goes to the blue team, and so on. So we want to write a program that takes in as parameter the ID of the student and returns its team. The teams being like red, green, and blue. And green as well. Sorry about that. Red, green, and yeah, red, green, and blue. Yeah. So again, a hint here, it's really about like pattern matching. It's not that different from what we did up here, except for in this case, we will be playing with the ID of the student that we'll get as a parameter in here. and comparing it to those different value 1, and in that case of 1, we return red as a team and so on. So do we have volunteers?
Yeah, I'd like to try.
Yes, please go ahead.
Just let it sit for a minute so the spices can. What? What?
I think I'm done, please.
Okay, so just a couple of things. I see that you are using the case constructor here. That's great. And here you have your pattern. But what you will get here when you do modulo with the parameter that you passed in here. So when you call the function modulo with those two parameters, it will return the rest of the division from mat and 3. And I don't think that's what you want here. So you want to compare mat. So you're saying here, case mat. So in case mat, which is what you get from here, the matricola or the identification number of the student is 0, and then you get blue. If it's 1, you get red. If it's 2, he's in the green team. And another thing here is you have to indent under the case because these options are contextual to the case construct here. So the syntax is case expression here, and then the pattern down there. So mat is what you are discussing the values down here. And if you look at the exercise, it says that student with ID 1 goes to red, ID 2 goes to green, ID 3 goes to the blue, ID 4 goes to the red, ID 5 goes to the green. So you might want to add those two as well, ID 4 and 5. Does that make sense?
Yeah, please, can you come again?
So what I'm saying is in the exercise, we have, several students.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you're just completing the remaining cases.
Okay.
So don't you want it to be some kind of recursion though that will then
3 to each of them each time, because you will have 1 going to blue, 4 going to blue, and then again 7 will go to blue. That's the pattern they're creating here.
Well, the students are being assigned to teams. So student with ID 1 is assigned to team blue. With ID 0, I mean, ID 1 is assigned to
Okay, so if they have ID 1 or 4 or
7 or continuing 10, 13. They'll be assigned to blue.
sorry,
They'll be assigned to red.
I think
Yeah,
I'm done
but-
now.
yeah, but I just want to address Megan's concerns. So
Okay.
that might be an implicit pattern, but it wasn't stated out in the exercise like that. So I think we for this one, we would just stop at these specific numbers. And yeah, but the exercise could be extended to, something like that, where you actually have a pattern and a arithmetical progression, something like that. But for this one, we'll stop at this. So again, thank you. This was Aura, right?
Yes, Iran.
Yeah. So yeah, this is great. Like you use the case construct here, and again, case takes in like a value or an expression, and in case of the value, you're really testing the possible value of this thing down here and returning the result. In case of an expression that evaluates to a value, that would be the same thing. We'll be testing the result of that expression. So here we could have something like, let's say, mat minus 2. We could have something like mat minus 2. In that case, the result you obtain here. Now we discuss all the possible, you match all the possible results you could obtain here down here with those arrow syntax. So in this case, we are just discussing the possible result for mat. So do you want to reload your file into the REPL and call your function, passing it some numbers?
Okay, sure. Yeah, I have run it. Please.
Well, I'm not seeing it. That's a really, is it like, does it happen just locally? Can you do it in the console instead of the shell? You see my screen, right? Like this is the console and that's the shell.
I've done it in the console.
Oh, in the console. Okay. I'm not getting it here. I don't know why, but yeah, I will. So did you check with a specific value and you got the expected result?
No, I'm getting an error.
Okay, let me see here. You can see my screen, right?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay. So I will reload the thing. So it looks, well, let me do this. So I will load the main file and I'm getting an error as well. So it's complaining about calculate sum. Oh, someone is having fun here. Okay, so I guess.
Manfo,
Yes.
can we use the comparison to do this assignment as well?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So in C++ we have else if. I don't know if Haskell to have else if.
Yeah, so in this case, you will so first of all, student, the function name starts with a lowercase. So if we do that, student ID, and down here, so you will write your else, right? And you will continue with if.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's what you will do.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead and finish, and then we can try to run it in the repo. The error you were getting was because something was being typed and it wasn't finished yet. So that's it.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so let's see what we've got here. So if I reload over here, we have a problem. So when I look at this, so if this is how you could do it. So you make sure that that if is going with this then and this else is lined up with. So you see we have if then else, if then else, and then we have if then, and then down here we have else. Anybody else writing something? No. So let's try now. So it seems to be compiling. So let me clear up my repo. So let's start with this one. So if we type that in and we pass it 0, we expect blue. That's the case. If we pass 1, we expect red. If we pass 4, we expect red. If we pass 5, we expect red, which is the case. Green, which is the case. So now if we go back to this second function and we pass let's say 1, we get red. Okay, if we pass 2, we get yellow. Okay, I think you made up that yellow, but that's fine, the concept is there. So if we pass 3, we get green. But if we pass anything else, we will get blue. There you go. Okay, yeah, I think this is this is great. So let's move on to the next exercise. Are there any questions so far? Okay, so I'm going to post the next exercise here, and feel free to write the solution. Just make sure you're not writing on the same lines. And yeah, so the next program is about writing a program or a function that takes in a list of integers as parameter and returns the average of the numbers in the list. And the hint here is we talked about the int. We talked about the sum function. That is a function that is already pre-built in Haskell. You give it a list of things, and it will return, you know, let's say we give it a list of int, and it will return an int representing the sum of those elements. So that's its type. So you could use that. And the other hint is the length function, assuming that if you want to calculate the average of a collection, you need to know how many elements are in the list. So the length is another built-in function for list that takes a list of things and return an int, and the int representing the number of elements in the list. So once you know that, you can just go ahead with We'll give a few more time for, looks like it's Megan to wrap up, and then we'll jump to
No, I don't
Coach.
think we should from waiting stuff.
Okay, so we've got three solutions here. Oh, there's someone. Daniel, are you still writing?
No, I'm done.
Okay, so we have three solutions here, and average AB equal. Can I? Who wrote this one? Can you guys see my highlight?
Yes. Yes, we can see it.
Okay, cool. So this is right, but I just want to make sure that we understand, you know, what it means, because if I average of numbers, you know, if I have a list of x's and I want the average, you know, I will be tempted to do is the sum of the x's, meaning that's the sum of all the element in my list, and I'm leveraging the sum function that comes with the Haskell compiler. Don't worry too much about these things, but it means literally that you take a list, you can replace that t by a list of a, and it returns a. A being like the sum of all the elements in the list. And then I divide by the length of the list, meaning the number of elements in the list. But if I do this, it's simply not going to work because length of x will return an int. So this will be an int. The type of this expression will be an int because the function length, if we check its type, it takes a list of things and it returns an int. So we'll get an int there specifying the number of elements in my list. And sum will return another int. Now the problem is I'm dividing an int by another int in Haskell, and the result supposedly can be a decimal number, which poses a big problem in Haskell. So the way to fix that is to put this type at a higher level and use a function in Haskell called from integral, like that. You know, I'm promoting this expression here to a higher type in such a way that I'm dividing something by another thing that can surely produce something with a decimal number without any problem. It's the same thing here. So real to fractional does the same job. And so those are two different ways to solve this problem, but at the base, it's just leveraging that sum function in Haskell and calculating the sum of all the elements and dividing it by the number of the elements in the list. So if we go down here, we have this other solution. So the first thing I will highlight here is that a function name always starts with a lowercase. So if we fix that, And then the types here don't look right in the sense that if you want to specify a type, we talked about a list of integers or int. So that would be a list of int. That would be the type that the function takes as parameter, and it returns, let's say in this case, a float, which is another type. We are assuming that we might do this average and get a decimal number. So in that case, we only have one element here, which would be xs, meaning all my elements in the list of integers. And in here, we'll still write something like this. I'll just copy that and paste it here. I'm not sure if in Haskell there's a function called average I should use. There might be one, but yeah, I'm not seeing anything there. So I will just paste that there, and it should work. So let's go in the repo. We got so many errors in here, and let me just make sure it's bigger. Variable not in scope. So it's telling me that it's not seeing this function here. It's trying to see this function, but it's not seeing it. So I don't remember exactly in what package that function is. Let's see. Oh, I see. So here is the problem. It's capital F here. It's capital F. So that's why I couldn't find it. So now let's go back here and clear up that window. And then we go back there. Thank you for fixing that. We reload. And I'm still not happy about this. Variable not in scope. Real to fact. So perhaps you meant real to fact. So again, we got it wrong. So it's a capital T. It's a capital T there. And it's a capital T there. Great, thank you. So now if I go back here, let me clear up the repo. And I reload everything. Now I get one problem here. And it's telling me perhaps you meant length. So there's a problem somewhere here with the length that I wrote.
Yeah, I think I fixed it.
You fixed it?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see now. So if I reload, great. So very quickly, we can do the average of what? So if we have 1, 2, 3, the average should be 1 plus 2 plus 3. That's 6, and we divide it by 3 because we have 3 elements, and that would be 2. So that's what we get, and you see it comes as a decimal. So now if we call the average of number and we give it the same thing, 1, 2, 3, that's still 2, that's good. And we go back to the last function. The last function here, average of digits. I'm going to paste it there. Call it we get 2. So yeah, this is great, guys. So at this point, I'm very conscious about the fact that we are going over our time, and I'm willing to stay here for let's say another 30 minutes and get through more exercises. But that really depends on you guys if you want to continue, whether you want to continue or not. So if we have volunteers, and then we can continue. If not, I would just suggest that you go through, these exercises. We share them with solutions, and you can, try to resolve them, and before looking at the solutions. So what do you think we should do at this point? Another 30 minutes, or should we stop here?
Madam Efia, please, are we having a Ghana meeting?
I just put in something in the group that because of this we might not be able to. But I don't know whether people are ready to go for another 30 minutes. But I put something in the group that because of this training program, we may have to do it next week.
Oh, okay, all right.
Okay, so are we stopping here, right? Well, I guess we'll stop here then, and I really invite you to spend some more time looking at this exercise, and don't worry too much about them, as we are gearing up with the official launch of our meetup. We'll definitely be suggesting a book in the upcoming weeks that we will probably be following chapter by chapter and creating a Discord community where we will be meeting probably, I'm not sure about this yet, probably twice a month, just to give an outlet to those who are really motivated to start like learning Haskell before we actually wrap up our training and implement the curriculum that will then be taught across all the Wada hubs. But we are very conscious of your enthusiasm, and we want to entertain that. And that's why we are, doing this one more step in starting, something on Discord in the coming month, to give you a space where we could be continuing this, and most of this exercise we will be doing them in a more like calm way, and we'll take our time. And regarding tomorrow, it will be about, I think we went through the program, it's pretty clear in there, but a quick reminder, it will be about an individual quiz challenge. So you will each get a certain amount of time to answer questions about the quiz challenge. And after that, we will constitute like little groups, and you will get together and you will solve a few exercises. And all the prizes will be based on, your presence, your participation, and also the grades you will get on those exercises. So again, guys, thank you very much. I'm really happy we are starting with this, and I look forward to continuing this with you. Megan, I will pass you the flag.
Okay, yeah, thanks everyone. Just wanted to let anyone ask any questions if they had any about, anything in terms of the structure for tomorrow or anything we covered today. Okay, well, again, thanks everyone for coming. Look forward to seeing you all tomorrow, and we will have this up on YouTube shortly after for y'all to review for tomorrow's session. So thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful evening.
Bye. Good night.
You too. Bye.